Hello Zenith women, and welcome to the channel. The saddest thing about betrayal is that it never comes from your enemies. Think about that for a second. Not the people who openly despise you, not the ones who compete with you. No, betrayal always comes from the ones who once smiled in your face, called you friend, or swore they'd have your back. And for Sigma females, this isn't just an occasional heartbreak. It's practically a rite of passage. Here's a brutal fact. Studies show that betrayal triggers the same pain receptors in the brain as physical injury. So yes, when someone stabs a Sigma female in the back, it doesn't just feel like a knife, it is one, just without the courtesy of anesthesia. But here's the irony. Betrayers always think they've won, as if a Sigma female will crumble and beg for answers. That's where they miscalculate. She doesn't chase, she doesn't argue, she doesn't even give them the satisfaction of a dramatic exit. She just vanishes, leaving them haunted by their own guilt. So why does this keep happening? Why are the very people a Sigma female trusts the most the ones who turn on her? Buckle up, because the answers will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about loyalty, trust, and human nature. Number 1. They become stronger after every betrayal. People betray Sigma females thinking they've dealt them a fatal blow. They expect her to break down, plead for explanations, or drown in self-doubt. But here's where they always miscalculate. She doesn't break, she adapts. Every betrayal sharpens her instincts. Every knife in her back teaches her how to walk through life with more precision. She doesn't waste time analyzing the why of betrayal. She accepts it as part of human nature and moves on with the kind of silence that leaves her betrayers unsettled. What makes Sigma females different is that they don't operate on illusions. They never believed people were flawless to begin with. They gave trust as a choice, not because they were blind to the risks. And when that trust is broken, she doesn't just remove the betrayer from her life, she upgrades. She refines her circle, sharpens her ability to detect deceit, and makes sure that the same mistake never happens twice. It's not a setback, it's an evolution. And here's the brutal truth. The ones who betray a Sigma female often regret it. Not immediately, because betrayal usually comes from arrogance, but later, when they realize she was the best thing they had, when they see her thriving without them, when they understand that she was never dependent on their loyalty, she just chose to trust them. That's the part that stings. Because while they stay stuck in the same patterns, she's already 5 steps ahead, untouchable, unbothered, and completely out of reach. Betrayal doesn't weaken a Sigma female. It forges her into something even stronger, someone who no longer tolerates mediocrity, who trusts even fewer people, and who walks through life knowing that every loss was just a necessary upgrade. Number 2, they never give second chances. There's no negotiating with a Sigma female once you've crossed the line. She doesn't do second chances, and she definitely doesn't do recycled trust. The moment she sees someone's true colors, she accepts them for exactly what they are, without excuses, without justifications, and without any lingering hope that they'll change. It's not bitterness, it's efficiency. She knows that keeping a betrayer around is like locking the front door while leaving the back door wide open. Most people expect to be forgiven, especially if they come back with the right mix of guilt, excuses, or forced sincerity. They assume she'll at least hear them out, maybe let them back in, even if only at a distance. But Sigma females don't entertain emotional performances. She doesn't need closure, explanations, or apologies wrapped in manipulation. The moment she's betrayed, she mentally files that person under permanently irrelevant and moves forward as if they never existed. And that's what burns people the most, her absolute finality. No arguments, no dramatic confrontations, no lingering resentment, just silence. And that silence is deafening. It forces the betrayer to sit with their own guilt, knowing there will never be a do-over. The bridge isn't just burned, it's reduced to ash and swept away. People don't resent her because she cuts them off. They resent her because she does it so effortlessly, because she won't beg, cry, or seek revenge. She'll just keep winning, keep thriving, and keep proving that her life only gets better without them in it. And for a betrayer, nothing stings more than realizing they lost access to something truly irreplaceable. Number 3, Their success feels like an insult to mediocre people. A Sigma female doesn't move through life seeking applause. She doesn't announce her victories, fish for compliments, or parade her success in front of others. She simply works, elevates, and quietly levels up. But here's the problem. People who settle for mediocrity take that personally. They see her growth as a mirror reflecting their own lack of ambition, and instead of using it as motivation, they let envy consume them. It's never about what she does to them. It's about what she represents. Her presence alone disrupts the comfort of complacency. She doesn't waste time complaining, making excuses, or waiting for a handout. She just gets things done. And that level of self-sufficiency is unbearable for those who rely on validation, shortcuts, or entitlement. So what do? They betray her, not out of necessity, but out of resentment. They spread rumors, sabotage opportunities, or create drama just to knock her down a peg. It's never an outright war. It's the subtle, underhanded kind of betrayal fueled by insecurity. They'd rather watch her struggle than admit she's proof that they could do more if they tried. And the irony? None of it works. A Sigma female doesn't crumble when people turn against her. She uses it as fuel. Every betrayal sharpens her focus. Every setback makes her stronger. And every act of sabotage only proves that she was always ahead. While they waste time plotting, she keeps winning. And in the end, their betrayal isn't what destroys her. It's what cements her place above them, untouchable, unstoppable, and completely unbothered. Number 4, they offer genuine loyalty, and people exploit it. A Sigma female doesn't hand out loyalty easily. She observes, she tests, and she waits. But once she decides someone is worth it, she gives them a level of loyalty that most people can only dream of. She'll go to war for them, defend them when they aren't in the room, and stand by them when the world turns its back. It's not a conditional loyalty. It's the rare kind that doesn't waver. And that's exactly why people exploit it. Users recognize this trait instantly. They see her as a goldmine of support, a vault of trust, and an emotional safety net they can fall back on whenever life gets tough. They take her loyalty as permission to drain her dry, her time, her energy, her resources. They lean on her when they're weak, demand her presence when they're lost, and expect her to keep giving without hesitation. And because she doesn't love halfway, she does. But here's the brutal truth. Many people don't respect what they don't have to earn. They assume her loyalty is endless, that no matter how much they take, she'll always be there. And when they've had their fill, when they no longer need her strength, her support, or her presence, they disappear. No explanation, no gratitude, just a sudden coldness that makes it clear she was never valued, only used. That's when the lesson hits hard. Sigma females don't just recover from betrayal. They restructure their entire approach to trust. They stop offering loyalty freely. They become selective, guarded, even ruthless about who they invest in. The users? They move on to their next victim, never realizing they just lost access to the rarest kind of loyalty, the kind they'll never find again. And that's their real punishment. Number 5, they're too rare to be understood. A Sigma female isn't just different, she's rare. And rarity always comes with a price. Her mind doesn't function on shallow interactions, fake pleasantries, or the unspoken rules of fitting in. She's wired for logic, depth, and brutal authenticity. She sees through facades, questions what others blindly accept, and refuses to shrink herself just to make people comfortable. And while people claim to admire these traits, the truth is they don't know how to handle them. Most people crave familiarity. They find comfort in sameness, in predictable behavior, in social scripts that everyone follows without question. A Sigma female disrupts that. She thinks differently, moves differently, and refuses to play along with surface-level nonsense. And at first, people are intrigued. They're drawn to her confidence, her intellect, her unapologetic way of being. But then, reality sets in. She's not like them, and she never will be. And that's when the fear kicks in. People betray Sigma females not because they've done something wrong, but because they're too much, too insightful, too independent, too unpredictable. And nothing terrifies the herd more than someone who doesn't need their approval. So to protect their fragile sense of belonging, they do what weak minds always do. They turn on her. They spread whispers, create distance, and align with the majority, even if it means betraying the very person they once admired. And here's where the joke's on them. Betrayal doesn't weaken a Sigma female. It just confirms what she already knew. She was never one of them to begin with. While they cling to their comfort zones, she walks away unfazed, continuing her path alone. And the best part, she wouldn't have it any other way. Number 6. They give people the rope to hang themselves. A Sigma female doesn't waste time trying to change people. She doesn't manipulate, beg for loyalty, or micromanage relationships. Instead, she does something far more dangerous. She steps back and observes. She gives people full freedom to be exactly who they are. No filters, no pressure. And that's where most people fail. See, the average person is used to wearing masks. They adjust their behavior depending on who they're around, always careful to say the right things, hide their true intentions, and maintain an illusion of loyalty. But a Sigma female doesn't engage in that game. She lets people reveal themselves naturally. And when someone is given that kind of freedom, their real nature eventually surfaces. She watches how they act when they think she isn't paying attention. She notices the small betrayals before they become big ones. She picks up on the subtle shifts, how their energy changes when she succeeds, how their words don't match their actions, how their loyalty wavers the moment they think they can get away with it. She gives them the rope, not as a test, but because she knows that people always expose themselves in time. And when the inevitable betrayal happens, she isn't shocked, she isn't heartbroken, she isn't even angry. She already saw it coming. The only person caught off guard is the betrayer themselves, stumbling, making excuses, realizing too late that they were never fooling her to begin with. That's the difference between a Sigma female and everyone else. She doesn't react, she allows. She lets people walk right into their own downfall, and by the time they realize what they've done, she's already gone, untouched, unbothered, and 10 steps ahead. Number 7. They trust slowly, which makes betrayal even worse. A Sigma female isn't someone who hands out trust like party favors. She's cautious, calculating, and borderline skeptical when it comes to letting people into her world. She studies patterns, watches for inconsistencies, and gives people time to prove themselves before ever considering them worthy of real trust. It's not paranoia, it's self-preservation. So when she does finally trust someone, it's a big deal. It means she's lowered her walls, let her guard down, and allowed herself to believe that this person is different, that they're solid, real, and incapable of the kind of betrayal she spent a lifetime avoiding. And that's exactly why, when betrayal does happen, it doesn't just sting, it destroys. It's not about losing the person, it's about losing faith in her own judgment. She doesn't just feel hurt, she feels fooled, and that is something she can't stand. She replays every conversation, every interaction, every subtle red flag she might have overlooked, trying to pinpoint the exact moment she made the mistake of believing in them. It's not just emotional, it's deeply personal. But here's the real twist. This kind of betrayal doesn't weaken her. It reinforces her instincts. It sharpens her ability to detect deceit, making her even more selective about who gets close. The people who betray her may think they've won, but all they've really done is ensure that she will never make the same mistake again. The next time, she'll see it coming before it even happens. And by then, she won't just walk away, she'll make sure they never even get the chance to get close in the first place. Number 8. They're too silent for comfort. Most people can't handle silence. They need constant reassurance, endless validation, and someone to stroke their ego every 5 minutes. But a Sigma female? She's not here to entertain insecurity. She speaks when it matters, stays quiet when it doesn't, and refuses to waste words just to make people feel comfortable. And that terrifies them. Her silence isn't passive, it's intentional. She listens more than she talks, analyzes more than she reacts, and lets people reveal themselves without interference. This makes the average person uneasy. They don't know what she's thinking, how she feels, or whether she even likes them. And instead of handling that uncertainty like adults, they spiral. They assume the worst. They convince themselves that she's plotting something, judging them, or looking down on them. So what do? They betray her before she can betray them. It's a preemptive strike based on pure paranoia. They create problems where none exist, talk behind her back, or distance themselves out of fear that she will be the one to walk away first. Ironically, their own insecurity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the moment she sees that kind of weakness, she does walk away. Not because she was planning to, but because she now has proof that they never trusted her in the first place. And here's the kicker. When she leaves, she doesn't explain. She doesn't argue, defend herself, or try to fix what's already broken. She just disappears, letting her silence speak louder than any words ever could. And that silence, it haunts them. Number 9. They're not easily manipulated, so people cut their losses. A Sigma female isn't someone who's easily swayed by guilt trips, emotional drama, or clever mind games. She's been through too much to be manipulated by those cheap tricks. When others try to pull her into their web of emotional blackmail, she simply doesn't bite. She doesn't fall for the theatrics, and she sure as hell isn't going to let anyone make her feel guilty for their own shortcomings. This is where it gets uncomfortable for the manipulators. They're used to getting their way. They expect people to fold under pressure, to cave when their emotions are played with. But a Sigma female? She sees right through it. She doesn't buckle when someone plays the victim card or tries to guilt her into doing something that doesn't align with her values. She's too strong, too grounded in her own sense of self. So what happens when the manipulators realize they can't control her? They give up. But they don't just back off, they betray her. They move on to someone who's easier to manipulate, someone who hasn't built up the mental walls that can resist their tactics. They burn the bridge, thinking they've lost nothing, but in reality, they've just made a huge mistake. They never realized that the Sigma female wasn't fooled by them in the first place. She wasn't a pawn in their game, and she certainly won't lose sleep over being discarded. The ones who try to manipulate her will always be left scrambling to find someone else they can control, while she keeps marching forward, stronger and wiser, leaving behind a trail of people who were never worth her time. And that's the ultimate lesson for anyone who tries to manipulate her. In the end, it's never her that loses. Number 10. They're the backup plan people can't use. Most people treat relationships like safety nets. They keep people around just in case things go wrong. Someone to lean on when the world crumbles or when their plans fall apart. It's all about having a backup. But Sigma females don't play that game. They're not here to be anyone's emotional crutch, and they certainly aren't here to be someone's plan B when everything else falls apart. She's not cold or heartless. She's simply aware of her value and how she deserves to be treated. She understands that people should stand on their own 2 feet, not use others as emotional lifelines whenever they need a pick-me-up. Sigma females don't let themselves be dragged into situations where they're the only one doing the heavy lifting, where they're the one comforting, supporting, and sacrificing, while the other person remains comfortably stagnant, using her to fill their gaps. And when people realize that she won't be their safety net, that she won't drop everything to save them when it suits them, they get uncomfortable. Some may try to manipulate, guilt trip, or push her into fulfilling that role, but it doesn't work. The Sigma female won't play the part of the backup plan. She knows her worth. So instead of coming clean, being mature, and respecting her boundaries, they betray her. It's their exit strategy. Because if they can't use her, they'll find someone else they can. And here's the twist. The Sigma female doesn't care. In fact, she's better off without them. The moment they leave, she moves on too. No regrets, no looking back. She wasn't meant to be anyone's emotional safety net in the first place. And when they betray her, all she's really doing is clearing space for those who can meet her on the same level without playing games. In the end, the Sigma female's strength lies not in her ability to trust recklessly, but in her power to rise above betrayal with quiet resilience. She's not swayed by the tricks others play or the false masks they wear. When people choose to betray her, it's never about her weaknesses. It's about their own inability to match her unwavering sense of self. She doesn't need to prove her worth because her actions already speak volumes. Her path isn't defined by the people who betray her, but by the ones who don't. It's the few, the true, the ones who recognize that her loyalty, her silence, and her strength are rare gifts, never to be exploited. So while others get tangled in their webs of manipulation, insecurity, and temporary comfort, the Sigma female moves forward, wiser and more resolute. She may be betrayed by many, but she never stays down. For her, betrayal isn't the end of the story, it's just another reminder that the road she walks is meant for the few who are strong enough to keep up, and the rest? Well, they were never meant to be there in the first place, and that in itself is a beautiful thing. If you've found yourself nodding along, recognizing the power and the pain of the Sigma female, then you're not alone. The world needs more women like her, strong, independent, and unbreakable. If you want to dive even deeper into the mind of a Sigma, uncover more truths, and learn how to walk this powerful path yourself, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Join the tribe, and let's keep this conversation going. You've got the power, the knowledge, and the courage to rise above, so let's do it together. Subscribe now, and let's keep moving forward, stronger than ever.